Welcome back to the Hero Whispers. Thanks everyone for today. For Supergirls podcast, we have an unbelievable guest. I cannot even believe I was able to get him off the road and on the show, okay? Let me tell you, he is like a smash hit all over the U.S. right now, talking to everyone about one word. And we'll get into that in a minute. Mr. Rich Keller, the Rich Keller, is on the line tonight. Yes, he is. The Rich Keller. Oh, my God.
Super J, I love you.
First, let me just give you a little 4-in-1 on the show in case you're new listening in. This is Jeannie Marie. I'm the host of the Hero Whispers, our podcast for Supergirls. That's 2 L's, second L for love. And we're all about inspiring and empowering college women to launch. Because we don't want them to land with a bang. We want them to have a softer landing. So we help them with career, we help them with networking, personal branding, and anything else, mentorship that they may need to have a successful launch into the real world. Our podcast, we get to talk to some of these women, and we also, to hear their stories and to help them, get to know them better and figure out better ways to help them. And we also get to talk to people that are amazingly inspiring to these women and that can also help them. And the Rich Keller happens to be one of them. So without further ado...
Hello there.
Hello there, Rich Keller, who is a passionate motivational speaker on a mission to transform 1 million lives, one word at a time. With Catalyst as his one word, in quotes, Rich understands the challenges associated with trying to discover what makes you stand out. He has learned that you can conquer life's obstacles and reach excellence when you uncover your core value, which he defines as who you are, not what you do. With an MBA from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania and 25 years of branding experience at powerhouse companies like Nabisco, Kraft, and Godiva, Rich now applies his marketing expertise to personal branding. He travels the country speaking at high schools, colleges, entrepreneurship conferences, and corporations, motivating young adults to craft their personal brands in one word and turn it into their greatest asset so they can stand out, conquer obstacles, reach excellence, and score. Welcome to the show. I cannot believe you're really here. Finally, you're here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here. Super G, you know I love you to death. I would move mountains for you.
The love is mutual, my friend. It is mutual. Listeners, we met 25 years ago in business school at the Wharton School. We became fast friends because we did the Wharton Follies together.
You got it.
Which is a show that's student-run, cast, and produced. And Rich had this crazy skit. You really should be taking that thing on SNL because it was so funny.
Do you remember the dress color you wore to my wedding? What was the color?
Yellow!
You got it, yellow. Woohoo!
Wait, but the skit was all about the 7 sins of procrastination. Do you remember what they are?
I do not remember. I don't even know what my phone number is right now. I'm traveling the country.
Word, but you definitely know you were one word.
You bet. Catalyst. That's it.
Okay.
Number one. You bet.
So you have been so busy. I mean, the great pause that we're in right now slowed you down. But you have been speaking all over the country, as we talked about in your intro. Talk to us about this. What do you call it? Your career part 2? You have a word for it.
My Act 2. I'm a recovering corporate brand marketer turned entrepreneur for my Act 2.
Love it. Of course, it has theater references. We love that. Okay, so what is it? Let's talk about this, the one word. Let's talk about how you got here and how you it, and then what you do to help what you're doing, I should say, helping all these amazing people.
Yeah, so I'll give you the Cliff Note version. So my move to becoming an entrepreneur at 50 was not planned by any means. I was at work one day. I was the head of marketing for a lingerie company, and I did something on the fly with zero thought, and Jeannie, with a lot of moxie. Um, I
A lot
was
of balls, a lot of balls.
I was getting an unexpectedly poor performance review, and on the spot I got up, closed the door, and I resigned from my corporate career. And in that moment, literally in the room, I gave up a high paying salary, a fancy job title, and long term financial security, and ended what I call my traditional brand marketing career. And I, got home. Uh,
That's so dramatic. And wait, that's 2 words. I quit.
yeah. And I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my kids, my wife. I got home that evening. And the first thing my wife said was, "Congratulations, now go conquer the world and impact lives." And the truth is, I had no idea what I was going to do next. I did not.
Okay, we love
And
her, first of all. We love
yeah,
the doc. His wife's a doctor.
thank
And
you.
she is the bomb diggity, okay, because she's so supportive. Look at
That's
that.
right. That's right. And you can't win in anything in life without having a support system around you. And I learned that the hard way. And so basically, the first thing I did was really dig deep. Like, what do I want to do next? I knew I didn't want to go back to the corporate world. I didn't want to be a traditional marketing guy. I'm a catalyst. I disrupt for a living. And the first thing I did was discover my why. And I spoke to a lot of people, and I realized that what I really wanted to do was help young adults reach their goals and dreams quicker than I did. I wanted to impact lives. That was so important to me. And I didn't really know how to do it. And then an evening one night with my son at the kitchen table changed my entire life. He was applying to college. He looked at me and said, "Can you help me prepare for my alumni interviews?" I said, "Sure, I'm a brand marketer." And I asked him the one question, which is probably the most difficult for anybody to answer, but it literally changed my life. I said to him, "Tell me about yourself." And he looked at me like I had 10 heads. And then he proceeded to just tell me things like, "I'm a senior in high school. I like video games. I love sports." And I realized at that moment that he was sharing all the things he did, and he had no idea who he was at his core. And it was at that moment that I realized that I maybe had an opportunity here to change the way people think about themselves, which is exactly what I did in my brand marketing career. I always try to convince companies to think differently about the brands that they marketed. And so I came up with, in my career, this core value one word approach. And it was literally to craft identities for some of the most iconic brands in the world, from Planters peanuts to Oreo cookies, Chips Ahoy, Godiva. And I would craft their identities in one word. And that one word is the core value that a brand brings to your life, because we buy brands because they deliver a core value. And so at that moment, I literally wrote the words "one word approach" while Zach was talking to me. And I had this idea that if I help him discover his core value in one word, he can then brand himself and build his identity for his college applications around what he's going to bring to a school. Because I believe as a brand, you give away your core value. And so he ended up looking at me once again like I had 40 heads at this point, and I convinced him to work with me, because tuition bribes always work. I'm like, "I'll pay for school and you work with me." I had no idea how to get it out of my head, but I worked with him for about 2 or 3 weeks, and we came up with this one word. And his one word is perseverance. This is a kid who never gives up. And what happened next was really magical for me. He, first of all, aced those interviews because he knew who he was. He wrote an outstanding college personal statement about a sleepaway camp story that really was very moving, about how he is a perseverer and never gives up. Got accepted to Cornell University. And then 2 summers later, interned at Peloton, which is one of the most, iconic brands right now in the world. And
Also all about perseverance.
that's right. And this summer, he, despite the virus, he's still going to be an intern in management consulting at Ernst and Young. And that was the moment when he discovered that one word, that I decided that I was going to go on a mission and transform a million lives one word at a time, using speaking as my main platform. And I probably have done what a lot of your listeners do. I started from the ground up. I mean, I walked away from a career, and little by little, I started building my speech. I started building my brand, my website. I'm a brand guy. I needed help because, we don't know what to do. We don't listen to ourselves, and we never, right? So I did all the things that I was doing for brands, and then I did all the things that I do today where I sought help and I got a support system around me. And as crazy as this sounds, I thought I was going to be home after my first talk because who cares about this one word idea? But you know what? It has taken on a life of its own because everybody wants to know how to be seen, heard, and valued. And in 7 seconds in an elevator, you have that amount of time to tell people what your core value is and what you're going to give to the world. And when people hear that I'm a catalyst, you already know 5 things about me. You know that I disrupt, you know that I motivate and inspire, and I change the game. And so I help people come up with words, one word that defines who they are in such a way where people will automatically have thoughts about you after those 7 seconds are up. And if they want to talk to you more, they're going to interact with you. And that's my story.
It is so powerful what you do. It is so powerful to help people see what they already know, but
That's right.
take it from the depths, bring it out, especially the youth, because they're not like completely jaded and shaped yet by all the crap, right?
That's right.
And so they can walk out into the world with this knowledge. It helps them walk into their power.
That's right.
And also help shape their lives. Like, this is huge. Okay, I feel like there should be like a statue of you or something like at these colleges. They walk around.
Jeannie, I want to give an example just because I think it's important for your listeners to understand, from my brand corporate career, how I took that and pivoted to people. The example that I always give is Spanx. And whether you're a woman or a man, because I wear man Spanx on stage.
Gotta love Spanx. Gotta love Spanx.
But Sarah Blakely is brilliant because she literally cut the pantyhose one day and said, "Oh my God, I've got this incredible idea," which, you probably would argue most people would think, well, why would somebody want to have that idea that I came up with? Another company is going to figure it out. But she persevered. But here's what she did, which was brilliant. If I called you up, Jeannie, and I said, I have an undergarment that you're going to wear under your clothes, and it's $80, and would you like to buy it right now? You would probably look at me like I was crazy and hang the phone up. But what she did, and what brands that win do, is she figured out that what she was giving away was confidence. She wasn't selling underwear, she was selling confidence. And so now if I called you and I said, I got a product that if you put on, you're going to look better, feel better, you're going to look slimmer, and boy, are you going to kill it on stage, and that's $80, you're more likely to buy that product because she figured out that Spanx gives away confidence in exchange for money. And that's what I help young adults understand now. What are you giving away in that job interview that you're going to get paid for, which is called the salary? And that Spanx example is what I transfer to people because we all have a core value that we give away. One core. We got a lot of other values, but there's one core that if you communicate that well in an interview, a company's going to hire you because that's what they're paying for.
Yeah, and they may not even know it.
That's right. And the thing that's really important is everybody knows their core value. Everybody has it already. I'm a catalyst. So instead of when somebody says, tell me about yourself, you should never answer the question by what you do, because I don't care what you do for a living. That is not who you are. Who you are should drive what you do. And what I try to help people do is disrupt the way they think about that question. So in your belly is who you are, but in your mouth is what you do, because everybody wants to say their job title when somebody says, tell me about yourself. And so what I do is flip it so that the first thing you say to someone is, at my core, I'm a catalyst, and I use speaking, coaching, consulting to drive it. I didn't say what I do, I said who I was. And that's what winning brands do. So we have it already inside of us. I just